Hey everyone, we are continuing our series about entities, LLCs, how to do them right, how to do them wrong, how the real estate investing industry is preying on your precious initial dollars and why that is not okay in my book. So I'm trying to save you some money. And let's welcome Mike Georgie back to the show. How you doing, Mike?
Hello, sir. Better than good. You?
I'm really thankful that we passed this $2 trillion bill yesterday. We could start to heal ourselves and get out of this muck and mire. Got a little sketchy there. They didn't approve it the first two times. So, whatever.
Yeah.
Now we can move on. So in the episode that just passed, we talked about the steps, the requirements to set up an LLC properly, the EIN, all those other steps. Why don't we talk now about what it takes to stay compliant? Because it's not just setting it up and doing some articles and having your meeting minutes and all of that. You've got to stay compliant over time. So why don't you talk about that importance? And you could do everything right day one, and then you miss the ongoing requirements. And again, you open yourself up to trouble. So why don't you highlight that stuff?
Absolutely. So hopefully you watched our previous video where we went through everything that you need to do when you initially set up your entity. Now, let's talk about the difference between a corporation and its requirements and an LLC and its requirements.
Okay.
Corporations have much more stringent requirements when it comes to the state and Fed requirements. They require you to do a resolution pretty much with every activity that you do that's outside normal business, and even is inside normal business with certain parameters. And so you have your annual meeting that you absolutely have to do. That's a minute resolution. You have to do resolutions for hiring, firing, purchasing assets, basically going on trips, doing any type of corporate meetings. If you're going to do financing, you're going to take on an investor, you're going to market or do something out of the ordinary, all kinds of different reasons. And so if you have a management company that's C-elected or a corporation, and you have a lending company that's a C-elected entity that's a corporation, you definitely want to make sure you go through once a month and just identify the items that need those resolutions and just knock them out. Because if you wait and they build up, it's going to feel like a insurmountable amount of work. You're going to feel like you're buried. And so the easiest way to do that is just to make sure you do it once a month. So that's corporations. Corporations have a high amount of tasks and items that they need to accomplish. Now, LLCs don't have those same requirements from a federal and state standpoint. But we want to make sure that you know the difference between what you're supposed to do and what's going to cover your assets. And so let's talk about that. LLCs are just required to do their annual meeting minutes and resolutions. So once a year, you go ahead and talk about the things that you've accomplished or haven't accomplished, or what you want to do moving forward as a directive or what have you. You go ahead and send that out to the managers. The managers take care of the vision. Basically, that's how it works. Now, with real estate investors specifically, there are certain activities that outside of those regular minutes and resolutions, you absolutely have to have. And they are the following. If you are going to use your personal credit, secure business property in the LLC, you need a resolution. If you're going to use personal credit cards to fund and or move transactions and business forward, you need a resolution. If you've commingled your funds at any point, you need a resolution. And here's why, and I've seen it happen. You go ahead and you have a tenant that sues you. You go into court. The first thing they ask for are your minutes and resolutions. They find out who the loan is under and who's guaranteed the loan. They look at the tax returns. They do all of those things, and then they say, Your Honor, we have a company or an LLC supposedly that allowed the individual to go ahead and personally guarantee it, that doesn't have any resolutions, that utilized personal funds to be able to pay for business expenses, and did all of these other activities, and there's no resolution or corporate document that states that the LLC is either asked or has allowed the individual to act on its behalf. So therefore, it's an alter ego of each other. And now I want to deal specifically with only the individual and not the LLC. What do you say, Judge? And the judge has no other recourse but to say, you're right, and to move forward in that vein.
Yeah, no, this is important stuff, folks. Again, too many people in the real estate industry up on stage get you all razzed, excited. you go create your LLC so you feel like you're doing something. You have to understand what it takes to run an LLC. Not only previous video, the steps to get it set up correctly, but then what you need to do over the year and what things, because a lot of you will be using your personal credit or your credit cards to operate and do all these things. If you don't do it, you've done nothing. A smart attorney will pierce that corporate veil, their language, not mine, and you're still in trouble. So if you're going to do this, do it right and reach out, have someone like the Nexus Group LLC kind of outline it for you. This is what they do. And again, back to video number 1 or 2. Setting up an LLC, if you're excited, I call them vibrating because I could see them. They're just freaking vibrating with excitement. Setting up an LLC is not step 1. You need to go learn your market, figure out what you're going to do, figure out what you're good at. There's lots of opportunities. Figure that out first, then go spend X amount of dollars setting up the LLC and making sure you're ready for it. Not the other way around. Don't be busy. Don't feel like you're doing something because in reality, you've done nothing except flush money down the toilet because most of you aren't doing what's required up front and very few of you are doing what's required yearly. Sorry, I just wanted to say that, Mike.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so you want to make sure that specific activities where it requires your personal credit, your personal funds, using of funds, etc., are documented. The reasons why are documented. As long as you have that and you've signed off on, the entity signed off on it, that's step 1. Step 2 is making sure that the corporate books follow that same line. So, for example, if you have transfers out of your company to you personally or transfers into the company from you and it's not documented and or it's not in the corporate books as a loan or as a repayment of a loan, if you're not using the checks and you're just using transfers, electronic transfers, those are also issues that need to be identified, documented, and then corrected in the long term. And so what I would invite all of our viewers to do is to come talk to us. We will do a compliance scorecard and identify what grade you get. And it sounds funny, but we're really actually going to go through all the initial steps that you should have taken care of, all of the things that may be rearing their ugly head after the initial the initial steps, just like I talked about. And then we'll also go through and let you know these are the documents you're missing for these particular situations. And here's what it would look like if we're not going to help you do it directly. And then finally, we actually can help you get your books in line and up to date to make sure that they reflect the actual cash flow and the way things have been processed, etc. And to get you to where now you're not worrying about it in the middle of the night thinking, God, my books are so messed up. And my documentation, and I haven't done all these things, but I really need to go and find a new property or to market or to talk to that customer or that buyer. And that kind of takes precedence. Let us help you. Yeah. Let us help you get in line. So
yeah, I like it. That audit that you're talking about, most real estate investors should take you up on that. Because you just need to know, right? If you're setting up an LLC for limited liability, right? You want to create that separation. Might as well do the audit because, man, it would suck to get 9 out of 10 right, but that 10th one would just be terrible. So any closing comments on this? I think it's important to realize you got to go back and watch the video before where you set it up. This video is about what it takes to keep it compliant. Because again, you could set it up correctly day 1, but by day 87, you're doing something wrong. And suddenly the judge goes, nope, alter ego, go after the user. So any closing comments, Mike?
If you do have any anxiety, any worries, if you think that you're not doing things right, or you think you may have missed something, just give us a call. It's that simple. And later that day, you're going to be like, God, I'm really glad I did that because now I feel better. Yeah. And I can focus my soul, 100% of my attention on what I need to do and what my business is. So that's it. Give us a call.
Very cool. And if you want, the link below is probably easiest. Use the link below. Takes you to a book now point so you can find a time that works for you. But if they do want to call, they're just in such a hurry. What's the number, Mike?
It's 877-713-8001. Again, that's 877-713-8001.
Very cool, buddy. Thanks. Have a great day. And again, we will do another session on Friday.
Have a good one, bud.
Yep.